talking about the Cardinals and the potential coaching changes and all that, and how Kyler has such a big grasp of the kahunas of the Cardinals management. So there's a couple teams with head coaching vacancies, and we're just gonna kind of fill in these vacancies with who we think would be the best fit. So we're gonna start with the Cardinals. I'll give my personal opinion. I think it's gonna be Byron Leftwich. I think you need a quarterback who's played in the league, who played well in the league, who can kind of rein in that Kyler Murray and kind of teach him how to be a pro's pro. I think the Cardinals like offensive-minded coaches. Byron Leftwich is obviously the offensive coordinator of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so, to me, I think the Byron Leftwich would be a great fit for the Cardinals.
I will say, if that happened, I wouldn't be upset. I think that would be a perfect fit. I think he's a good fit anywhere he goes. He is very deserving of a job. But for the Cardinals, I would put Jim Harbaugh or Sean Payton. Sean Payton's a tough one because I know that he's still under contract with the Saints, and he has to pretty much get traded and bought out in order for him to.
Which the Saints said they're open to do. So
yeah, the Saints have been giving permission to teams to come in and talk to him because I don't think the Saints want to keep paying the man to not coach. I think they're kind of like, yeah, somebody please come take this off of our plate. Yeah. Whatever, we just want to be done with it if he's not going to coach. So I would say Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh. I know Harbaugh was I think he reached out to the Panthers or vice versa. Panthers reached out to him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's more of a ploy for him to get more money from Michigan. And I say that because Blake Corum decided to come back for another season.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he would come back and not hit the transfer. Yeah. If I was a running back of his caliber, I'd be like, oh, my coach is dipping out. We're going to have a new one. I'm going somewhere that's established with a head coach that's staying.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives me an indication that maybe Jim Harbaugh is not going to go to the NFL, and he's just looking to get a bigger contract from Michigan. Like, hey, we want to keep you. We'll give you a couple extra million. So one of those two I think would be a great fit.
I mean, the thing with Harbaugh is, it's like when he left the 49ers. He said, I'm not going into college. I'm sticking with the 49ers. A week later, hi, guys, I'm the new head coach at the University of Michigan. They're like, what? So
money talks, man.
Yeah, money talks, and Jim Harbaugh walks. And I think that's what's going to happen. I know Blake Corum did decide to return back to college, but I think, again, money talks. And the Colts have a lot of money. And he played for the Colts way back when, I believe in the 80s or 90s. And I think that'd be a good fit. And then they go on and draft C.J. Stroud in the first round. Michigan coach, Ohio State quarterback. It's like a very toxic relationship that just finds its way too. But I do think, to me, I think Jim Harbaugh goes to the Colts. I do think he leaves Michigan for that Colts job.
I can see that. The NFL is a very lucrative. That's the top of the top. I know he was already in the NFL, but it's a different environment. And winning a Super Bowl, I believe, is like 10 times better than winning a national championship. Yeah. National championships, like, we did it, Yeah. But it's much easier to repeat as a school. Like Georgia, Georgia and Alabama have done it. 5 stars,
you just got to recruit.
Yeah. But in the NFL, it's not like, we got a new team and I get to go out and recruit all these 5 stars and throw money at them. I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with, and I have to work with these teams. So it holds a little more honor when you win a Super Bowl. So I could see him going to the NFL, but I don't know. We'll see. Taylor, do you think the Eagles should or will re-sign Sanders? Do I think they will? No. Do I think they should? Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to re-sign Sanders. I think they're going to draft Jamari Gibbs, or they're going to get Bijan Robinson to kind of fill that role.
But I do think they should. But no, they will not.
So who do you think would be, like, or if you don't have a name in particular, do you think the Colts go offensive?
They have to.
Offensive coach or defensive coach?
They have to go offensive. That offense is an absolute mess. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback. But they need to get that figured out.
Joe Namath has come out of retirement and said he signed with the Indianapolis Colts.
That'd be better than Matt Ryan. They are in a just a terrible spot right now. I think your comment about Harbaugh being the Colts head coach would fit. I mean, he's already part of the franchise. He's an offensive minded coach. They get in a decent quarterback. He could really turn that offense around, but 100% has to be an offensive minded coach because they are a disaster.
Yeah, and the Colts did come out, the GM and a couple people close to the Colts said that the Colts are trying to actually move up in the draft to select one of the quarterbacks. So they're actually potentially trading for that first pick in the draft. They've reportedly been in love again C.J. Stroud, but they also really love Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is their number one target. So you could see Bryce Young in the Colts uniform. So
it'd be a good fit. And don't forget, Baker Mayfield is not going to re-sign with the Rams this upcoming, and he is proven to be a starter. And the Colts do pick up people who probably are on that fine line of being benched and starting. So Baker Mayfield might get the shot at the Colts. Who knows?
Who knows? And then we go down to the Panthers. Jim Harbaugh they did reach out to Jim Harbaugh. Speaking of the Colts, former Colts head coach Frank Wright got an interview with the Panthers, and to me, that's my personal best fit for the Panthers outside of their head coach, their interim head coach that they have now that the players are advocating for.
I would go with Brian Flores because they need a tank.
But
I don't know. I don't know who would be a good fit. That team's confusing to me because you get rid of your head coach, you get rid of your best running back, you drop Baker Mayfield, and then they start winning games with an interim head coach.
That's why I think that he keeps his job because I mean they did turn it around even though they had like bones of a team.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say give him an opportunity, at least a season. I mean, if we can give Jeff Saturday a chance at being a coach, and this man's able to take the Panthers that were just dismantled and win games with them, give him a shot.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the players are advocating for it too. They love him, and that's a good sign. So I do think that the Panthers will draft a quarterback in the first round this year. I know they had Matt Corral. Don't know if he's the guy. I would like to see Matt Corral get some snaps, but I don't know if he is that guy. And I think the next head coach or the interim head coach is probably going to want to draft their piece, because it just tends to happen when you don't have a centerpiece. That's, you don't draft a quarterback when you have Tom Brady or Aaron. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you draft the quarterback in the first round instead of a wide receiver, and you sit there and go wonder why our wide receivers can't catch. But
the thing is, you said that you don't draft a quarterback when you have somebody like Tom Brady, but they did draft a quarterback. They've drafted 2 with Tom Brady so far. And then they're on slate to draft another one. A lot of predictions are saying AR-15 to the Buccaneers. So that would be 4 quarterbacks in total, or 3.
They got Kyle Trask, and they got Jimmy G. So
Jimmy G. What?
When he was on the Patriots, they drafted Jimmy G as his replacement.
They have what is that dude's name that they just drafted? So they got Kyle Trask, and I cannot think of the other dude's name, but they just picked him up, or not picked him up, but draft him. I'll figure it out later. But anyways, and they're slated to get AR-15, so it's odd to me.
Yeah.
Broncos.
Sean Payton.
I would say Sean Payton or left wedge.
Yeah.
He needs Russell Wilson needs somebody to reel him in. He needs somebody that's stern and somebody that's going to be able to get him out of his funk. Because Russell Wilson is a good quarterback. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He's not somebody that you're like, that's the best quarterback to ever play the game. But he is a good quarterback, and he proved it in Seattle. Whether it was because of the system he was in, he's still a good quarterback. He just needs somebody to, knock that, I'm not good enough mentality out of him, because I think it was he got this huge lump sum of money and was like, I'm not worthy of this. $200 million
I'm
plus.
not worthy.
Yeah, like that's a lot of money and that's a lot of pressure to put on him. Like, he's going to come in here, he's going to change this franchise back around. We're going to win a Super Bowl this
Well,
year. That's a
Hackett was
lot
a
of
horrible
pressure.
head coach as well. Like Hackett
Oh,
was when they
absolutely.
hired Hackett in the offseason, I was like, yeah, the Broncos are going to suck this season. Everyone was like, no, even if they have, Hackett's a decent head coach and they got Russell Wilson. They're going to the playoffs at the very least. And I was like, no, Hackett can't hack it. And that was very apparent. So I don't know what the Broncos were looking at, but I agree. Sean Payton or Brian Leftwich would be good fits. I like Sean Payton simply because, one,
he coached Drew Brees.
Yeah, he's coached Drew Brees, and he knows how to kind of rein in the quarterback, get his eyes back underneath him. A lot of people forget that Drew Brees, when he left San Diego, he wasn't that good. He was all right. He was a good quarterback, decent. But when he teamed up with Sean Payton in New Orleans, where he took his career to the next level. And we've seen Russell Wilson play good in the past. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback and stuff like that. So I think Sean Payton would be a good fit, and I think he is eyeing the Broncos' job. So I think I'm pretty sure someone interviewed Sean Payton, and it's kind of one of the spots that he kind of mentioned. So I could see Sean Payton with the Broncos, and then again Brian Leftwich. I do think the Broncos need a offensive-minded coach again, and we're going to do a lot of these offensive-minded coaches so far. Like all these guys have been offensive-minded.
Yeah, well, I mean the Broncos' defense is solid. They don't need help on that end of the football because they are a great defense. And Sean Payton, it's really hard to figure out where Sean Payton's going to go because he's set. It's not a I need this job, somebody hire me. It's a do I want to coach? It's up to me. It's not up to anybody else, So he's going to need a team that is pretty much set up to go to the Super Bowl and is willing to pay an insane amount of money. Yeah. So that's really what it comes down to. I don't know how much money the Broncos have, especially after dumping the dump truck on Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they've got. And plus, I still think they have to pay, what's his name, Hackett or whatever terrible head coach he was. Yeah. So I don't know what their financial situation is.
Yeah.
Texans.
The Texans, I think they're going defense. They just seem to love defensive-minded head coaches. So I'm going to go with they are interviewing Jonathan Gannon from the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. I'm going to go with, though, DeMeco Ryans. He means a lot to that franchise. Obviously, he was a Pro Bowl linebacker for them. And he's now the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, who have the league's best defense, ranked number 1. So I think he's going to be a player's coach. He's got the best defense in the league right now with the 49ers. And I think he'll probably be the best fit for the Houston Texans, in my opinion.
I think Lovie Smith should have had at least another year.
I agree on that one.
Personal opinion.
I agree on that one.
To kind of, I think that was too early of a firing, personally. But so my pick for this is a couple of things have to happen. The first thing is he has to get fired from his current position, and they get hired on. So I'm going to go with Ron Rivera. I think his time with the Washington Commanders is coming to an end. And I think they're going to move on to somebody else. I don't know who they're going to move on to, but I think he's going to be an available coach this offseason, and I think that the Texans take him on as their head coach.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
And I think he's a good coach, too. He's very personable, and he cares about his players.
Yeah.
And the Texans are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel in the NFL right now, so they really need somebody to come in and, you guys are – a good team, give them that spark, hey, we have an opportunity. We can come out here and make a change and play good football and actually be competitive. And I think Ron Rivera has that capability.
Yeah, the only counterpoint I would make to that Ron Rivera argument is that they did just fire their offensive coordinator, and so it kind of looks like they're going to stick with with Ron Rivera at least for one more season. I think they like what they kind of saw in Sam Howell, and I don't know. I just think they like Ron Rivera too much. I think he gets one more season with the Commanders before they eventually let him go. Personally,
I hope that happens because I like Ron Rivera. I don't think Ron Rivera's tough. At most, I would say he's like a 8-win a season coach. You
Yeah.
know, like that's what you can expect out of him. And if you get more, you're excited. If you get less, you're not totally disappointed. But when you get 8, that's what you expect with him.
Yeah.
But I do like him though.
Yeah. So, guys, those are our picks. What's going on, guys? If you guys like that video, make sure you hit the subscription button and turn on the bell notifications for any time that we go live. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And again, make sure you like this video. Much love from the booth.